I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when figuring out their price is looking at their neighbors' prices who aren't selling.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with this right now on a house in Coquitlam, and we had talked a few years ago, and her house was worth $200,000 more than it is now. And there are still a lot of people trying to get yesterday's prices. And when I talked to her, her first reaction, and I get it, is how could I possibly list at that price? All of my neighbors are asking these higher prices. The problem is there hasn't been a sale this year. There's a lot of houses, and none of them are selling at that price point. At the price point we're talking about, stuff sells. But yes.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really common trap. Is
we
my
can
neighbor
all sit around and ask $200,000 too much money, and we'll all just sit and not sell together.
Getting fixated on the active listing prices.
Yeah, someone else in my neighborhood is asking this much.
And also the status of listing price. Like, I think there's a part of it that is, what would my neighbors think? Like, I'm the one who's dragging down the
that's
price.
fair.
Yeah, well, you won't have to worry because you're moving.
And they're not.
Yeah, they've been on the market for 8 months and not sold, but you're the reason.
Yeah, you're going to ruin it for them. I totally agree. I think that's a really common one is looking at the active stuff out there. And you speak to that too, like, well, if they're asking 1.2 million, and I think this is how people turn into this one I think causes a lot of trouble for us right now, is sellers don't start their process by looking at sold data. They look at actives.
Correct.
And then they say, okay, well, I'm looking at that, and I'm kind of looking at what I'm thinking I want to buy and I want to move to, so I'm going to call in Geoff. And I want him to tell me what's going on. And they say, Geoff, we're thinking of selling our house. We think we're going to sell it for 1.2 million, and we want to buy this one for 1.8. Right. And you say, well, your house isn't worth 1.2. It's worth $1 million. And they go, oh, well, we brought you here to sell, but we wanted to sell for 1.2 to buy that next house up.
Yeah.
And then can we get that house for 1.5? And now I'm using sort of, let's just say the outcome is the gap is wider than they were expecting because they're basing it on asking prices. And I see that a lot where they come in, they have an expectation. We're really giving a lot of bad news right now when we're sitting down with sellers.
Almost every evaluation.
Yeah, and they do know the market is down, but they're not fully in line with it. And they can accept that the market has changed. They can accept what they're hearing in the news and all that stuff, but the gap is still too wide. Yes. And it's kind of like, well, you couldn't afford the gap 2 years ago. You still can't afford it now. Like it's actually not any more affordable to a lot of people in this marketplace. Now, but we did talk about sometimes you can get a deal if you get the right one where this segment's really far down and the segment's doing a little better.
But it's hard when, we were having this conversation. You brought this up the other day, is just the emotional attachment. Like we all know, real estate's just so emotional, and sometimes, because they have the wrong data, they've created this plan in their mind of, okay, now when we bring in Jared or Matt or Geoff, so we're thinking of selling, and we're just kind of looking at numbers, and then you have to drop this bomb. They almost need some time to digest that and reevaluate if the plan still makes sense, or no, the plan is we do need to move. So how can we come up with something that works, and what can we adjust, right?